You stand accused of murder. You stand accused of treason. How do you answer these charges? Lord Baelish.
Hey guys, and welcome back to SmokeScreen, and with me again to debate a seemingly hot topic recently is the Lady Grey area. Welcome back, Grey.
Thanks for having me. I'm here to talk about guest right. Did the Starks break guest right?
That's right. So you did a video. We were chatting the other night, and you did a video on your channel, and I went and watched it today, and you basically said that, and I agree in the extent of it was an ambush on Littlefinger almost. But you had this video. Apparently, it's got a lot of debating going on in the comment section.
Yeah.
And you were like, you should do like a reply to that video with your thoughts on it. So I watched the video, and then I went back, and I initially agreed because this came up on the live stream Sunday night. Somebody asked me the exact same thing. Do you think that they broke guest right, the Starks, in this scene with Littlefinger's death? And I was like, pretty much, yeah, they did. But then I went back and watched the scene earlier. And that's when I contacted you and said, we need to talk about this. Because
Here we go.
There is something in here. There is something in here that I think almost gives them an out. But anyway, I'll leave the link to your video and what your thoughts are on it in the description below. So you go over guest right in that video, what it means for the Starks and Northerners and basically worshippers of the old gods in general.
So basically what guest right is, it's this sacred law. It's a law of hospitality. The only thing that is more sacred or more frowned upon by the old gods is kinslaying. And the old gods will punish you for kinslaying even if you slay somebody that's not even your kin. So guest right means if someone eats at your table and sleeps beneath your roof, they are protected by guest right. They can't harm you and you can't harm them.
Right, and that's essentially it. And I think you mentioned this. There was a part, for example, in the books where Tyrion's come back from the wall and Robb denies Tyrion guest right by having a sword on his lap. So there's a lot of old customs involved, and he essentially denied that, and that's when Tyrion went and stayed in Wintertown or whatever. So yeah, that's the premise of guest right, and it's a very, very big thing, especially in the books. And they did do, I would say in the show, they did bring it up quite a bit. You had Bran tell the rat cook story. That's obviously related to the Red Wedding. That's the big thing people for show only watchers that know about guest right is the Red Wedding was the big deal breaker.
Yeah. And then you have the mutiny at Craster's Keep.
Yeah, right. Yep. That is true.
Also, when the Hound and Arya are in the Riverlands and they see those people, they are talking about guest right, and he gives the Hound guest right.
So yeah, it's been done in the show. So it's been mentioned. So it's a pretty important thing. So when this came up, I totally agreed. I totally agreed that the Littlefinger death. First of all, I didn't like his death. I mean, I wanted him to have one last play up his sleeve, but I guess they tried to make the play, you know, him trying to play Sansa and Arya against each other. So I get it, and I did enjoy the Arya part of actually executing him. But I didn't like the whining and all that stuff. But I guess the controversy is, or I wouldn't call it controversy, but the debate is, did the Starks break guest right? And again, when I first thought about it, I was like, yeah, I mean, they basically assassinated him. There was no trial. But I went back and watched the scene again, but she did actually accuse him and ask him about the charges. Do you deny these charges? And it looks like he admitted to one.
Yes.
Which charges confuse you? Let's start with the simplest one. You murdered our aunt, Lysa Arryn. You pushed her through the moon door and watched her fall. Do you deny it?
I did it to protect you.
You did it to take power in the Vale.
The rest of them he did deny, but he did admit to a charge. And I think once that's out there where he said, I did it, then guest right is now out the window. He is basically, because all the charges hold the same penalty, right? Is death.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you that she did say, you stand accused, but she knew about that before she offered him guest right. She knew, she was there when he killed Lysa. She knew he killed Jon Arryn. She knew all of that. So he is excused of that.
That is true. That is true. She did know about it. But I guess my point is because I initially thought the same, like this was not a trial. This was almost an assassination. They locked him in the room. They shouted a bunch of shit at him, straight up killed him, judge, jury, executioner, the whole thing. I think even if she knows about it and then she formally brings it up and actually lays the charges out in front of everybody, I think that's a little different. It's a formal thing where she saved it. She brought it out in front of everybody. He did say, yes, I did it because she was crazy. And because the only thing he admitted to was the Lysa killing.
Right.
And then the rest of it he did deny. So I think formally that makes it a trial. And then once he said, I did it because she was crazy, I did it to protect you, then he basically admitted guilt, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. See, this is my take on it. So the reason that you have guest right is so that when someone feels safe, no matter what their crimes are, no matter what they've done previously, that they can come to your house and stay at your house and you're not going to kill them. If you know about these crimes and then you grant him guest right, how can you turn around and then accuse him of the crimes that you already knew about prior to you giving him guest right? So I'm not saying that Littlefinger didn't deserve to die, because he definitely deserved that L. But
oh yeah, I mean, I think either way you look at it, it was justice regardless of the rules.
Yeah,
right?
But it's like, does the guest right curse that has affected everybody that's broken it affect them? And if I feel like people don't want you to say that about the Starks, not the Starks, but the Starks can break the rules too.
But I don't think there's any statute, so to speak, under the guest right rules that say you can't bring up past crimes and charge somebody formally in a trial setting. In other words, there's no statute of limitations in this world. You can be tried for them the next day or years later, and I don't think there's any rule under guest right that says you can't charge somebody once you figure out, especially in this scenario, that he was trying to play them together, Arya and Sansa, and she figured that out. He was doing it under their roof, essentially doing the same thing. So in that case, I think she has every right to bring up these charges, past ones and present. And she even makes the comparison that he's doing the same thing to Arya and Sansa that he was doing to Lysa and Catelyn. This was a formal trial. When I was just first thinking of the scene after this came up, I was like, yeah, they pretty much just killed him. They just said he did a bunch of shit. He pleaded for his life and they cut his throat. And so they essentially broke guest right and murdered him. But then when I rewatched it thinking, okay, well, yeah, there's a little formality here. And I will say there is another little angle that I just wanted to bring up really quickly, because I think in your initial video, you're talking about the curse, like the old gods look down on this, they frown upon it, right? Mm-hmm. I think with the Bran angle, it's a little different now.
Well, I know you don't believe in the gods, Chris. No, you don't believe it.
No, well, that's what I was going to say. With Bran there, that has proven now, and that's the thing. We don't know what happened off screen, right? They did cut a scene where Sansa talked to Bran about all this, and they cut that scene out of season 7. But if Bran has proven essentially over his time there, however many months it was, that he can actually see these things and they're real, how does that change it when I think he is an old god? So in the sense of a curse, I don't think there will be a curse in the sense of, because if, like you said, I believe there are no gods. Bloodraven was the last old god. Bran is now the current one, right? So essentially you have the old god sitting in the room with you, telling all your sins in front of everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that's the angle, then I think that's 100% plausible. I was just like, I wasn't even taking that into consideration because I believe in God. I believe in the old God.
Yeah, right. No, so you still believe that Bran, Bloodraven, children, any green seared, warging, skin changing people, you still think they get their power from an actual deity of some sort?
Not necessarily a deity, but like I explained it to someone once and they told me what I was explaining was the Force, like in Star Wars.
The Force.
So I feel like they're tapping into something. I don't know if it's like a person or a group of people or just like nature itself or like just like the universe and karma, like something like that. But I don't think it's Bran. Like I don't think he can harness like all of the power of the old gods. And I don't think it's something like that one person can hold. I think he can maybe access it. So that still goes along with what you're hinting on is that if there was going to be some kind of curse, that he wouldn't have allowed her to do it. Is that basically?
Yeah, right. No, I get you exactly. I think so. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a different discussion about the gods. And again, we'll never get a definitive answer.
Yeah,
I
no.
do think, just to mention it quickly, that I don't know if you agree or not, that regardless if it's gods or just magic, I do think it's all the same source.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're R'hllor follower or old gods or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so that's a separate conversation, but that's all I wanted to bring up was the fact that when I rewatched the scene and realized it was more like a trial than I initially thought, but then I forgot about the one line where he's like, "Yeah, I did it to protect you," and irregardless of the other charges, he admitted that in a formal kind of court setting. And then Sansa did judge him, and that was it.
I don't think it was a trial because, like, look at Tyrion's trial. Tyrion's trial, he had 3 judges. Witnesses were called. There was a whole throne room full of people to witness this. Now, all that was present at Littlefinger's trial was Sansa, Arya, Bran, Lord Royce, which hates his guts and wants the regency for himself, and Stark guards. There were no other northern lords there. He couldn't call a witness. He couldn't do anything. I agree with that. It does still feel off to me, even though I'm trying to justify it in my own head. It does still feel off that it was almost a trap. Like he didn't know beforehand he was going to have a trial. But again, it goes back to different customs, right? You know, in King's Landing, Faith of the Seven, that type of thing. It's a different kind of setting. But yeah, he did plead. I do agree. He did say, "Let me defend myself. You at least owe me that." But again, I think it goes back to the one when he said, "Yeah, I did it to protect you." At that point, the other charges didn't matter. You know what I mean? In my opinion. Yeah. So in the books, Wyman Manderley, like his whole deal with the phrase, like he gives them gifts. Like they came there on boats, so he gives them horses when they leave. When your host gives you a gift, then your host has finished that ends guest right.
Right.
So one of my commenters, they brought up a really good point that Arya gave Littlefinger the gift of death. So that's the loophole.
That is true. That is true. That's exactly what came up on the live stream the other night. I mentioned that a gift ends that or whatever, and I never thought of course, that way with Arya giving him the gift. So that you could say that, but I still think, I don't know. I still think, at least in the sense of it does feel shady. I will give you that all day. It did for me until I watched the scene again.
Yeah.
But once he says, "Yes, I did it to protect you," he admitted to this murder of Lysa Arryn. And even though the other charges were denied and he didn't have a chance to speak on those, it doesn't matter. They could have charged him with just that, and that would have been enough for a death sentence.
Yeah, I just think he was protected from that because she knew about that before she offered him guest right. But I also think we should point out that the show, they don't always take into consideration how important something is in the books. I can say 100% if that scene goes down like this in the books, there's going to be a curse. One of them's gonna die. Yeah,
I can't see it happening like that in the books. I can't see Littlefinger just dying like that. I mean, because his whole season 7 arc was just bad to me. He just kind of sat around and did nothing, and the whole angle was just him playing them against each other, which we all saw coming. So I guess that was his final angle. But you would have thought, I guess, I don't know if we talked about this in our last collab, but when Bran said, "Chaos is a ladder," it's time to go.
I'd have been gone.
It's time to get the hell up out of Dodge.
There's theories. There's a theory, like it's really popular, that he's still alive. That Littlefinger is still alive. And it is pretty good.
Yes. I don't buy the faceless man thing. No faceless man is going to take a coin and go die for you. I'm sorry.
What is dead may never die.
Right.
I think he's dead. I think it sucked how he died. I think he did deserve to die, but at the same time, I was disappointed with how he died because he basically died. I don't know, he looked pitiful. It's just. It was absolutely pitiful. I did not like the death scene either. I did like, the act of Arya doing it so fast, like she didn't even give a fuck, was cool, but
I didn't like him begging and crying and Sansa, I loved you most, you know, and all that stuff. I did hate that aspect of it. And I totally agree. It still feels, even though I'm saying this, it still feels shady to me. Like it was an assassination almost. It still feels like that, but I'll just leave it there, and we'll pass it on to you guys in the comments. What do you think? Once he said, yes, I did it, and admitted to one of those crimes that she did, in fact, take the time to charge him with, and asked him how he responds to those. Once he said, yes, I did it to protect you, to me, that's like, okay, it is a formal trial. He pleaded guilty. Now there's no need to defend against the other ones. You know what I mean? So either way, so I guess we'll just agree to disagree. I don't really know if we even disagree. I just think it's a different angle of looking at it.
Yeah, it's like we're just exploring everything that we can explore, and the worst that can happen is we're wrong, which we're not even keeping track of.
Exactly.
Of that. It's just like, let's just have fun with it. Like, everyone's not gonna agree. Like, you're not gonna agree with me on everything. I'm not gonna agree with you on everything, but it's all love.
Yep, absolutely. That's what makes this fandom so great, and this story, the books and the show. It's just so deep. You could talk about shit all day long. You could pick one little scene from the show, or one little paragraph for that matter from the books, and talk about it on an entire podcast.
Yes,
2.5 hour podcast. So, but anyway, we will pass it off to you guys. Great, thank you so much for coming back to SmokeScreen. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. I really wanted to talk about this because I think I'm in the minority on this one.
But anyway, guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. And as usual, thank you for all the support, especially to you guys on Patreon. Really appreciate all the support, and to everyone on YouTube as well. Be sure to subscribe to get everything, and click that damn notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.